Hello again. This time I'm going to be looking at a theme which crops up fairly frequently. There's only a few substitutions, but they are pretty common and it's very handy to know them. So I'm going to go straight into an example clue. One who changes opinion of books in mad vocation. 8 letters. One who changes opinion of books in mad vocation. Now, you'll be looking, obviously, definition, wordplay, trying to break it down. Mad here, it's not at the end, so it's not going to be a definition. It's pretty likely to indicate an anagram of something, so you probably start thinking that's books in mad and an anagram of this. So you're definitely functionality down this end, which means definition is probably up this end somewhere. One who changes, possibly, but then you're going to need another word for opinion, so you're looking at stuff like that. Eventually you'll work out one who changes opinion is the entire definition, that whole thing. Books in mad vocation. Now, this is probably one of those ones where you want to work from the definition and then justify it afterwards. So if you go one who changes opinion, not a particularly common word, recanter, a person who recants their beliefs, their opinions. Then you have to work out why. You can't put it in until you know why. So, mad vocation, you've got career around the outside, but it's mad. So you've taken another word for vocation, you made an anagram of it, and you put it there. But the point of this example clue and the point of the whole theme is, where do you get the N and the T from? And that's from your books, because that is the New Testament. The New Testament, often referred to as NT in various places for notation purposes. So this is where religion comes into the crosswords. Religion, the Bible, the church, faith in general, all crop up fairly frequently. There's lots of words that occur as answers. You don't have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible. There is one character that comes up quite a lot, not one you might think of. But it does help to know a few of the very common substitutions. So you've got NT, obviously you've got OT from the Old Testament. If you've ever heard of something being cited chapter and verse, that's often done like that. So if you see chapter or verse in a clue, it could be the CH in a word, the V in an answer, and there's also book, less commonly used, but from exactly the same source. So you've got CHV and the B there. Those are very common. So if you see any clue, chapter or verse, you're looking for a CH or a V in the answer somewhere. It takes out some of the words you're trying to work with. The other one is people who work in the church, ministers, reverends, friars, vicars, stuff like that. There are various abbreviations that indicate those people. So obviously, Rev is very common. FR for father or friar. So anytime you see, there's also RR, forgot that one, Right Reverend. Anytime you see father could be indicated, could be that in the answer. So if you see father in the clue, it could be that in the answer. But churchman, holy man, something like that. It could also be imam, although obviously that crops up in fewer words, so it's less useful to a setter. Rev is very, very handy. F and R, obviously very useful, so you'll see those quite frequently. Now the only character, really, I mean you might get as answers, you know, Noah, I think I've seen all his sons in there, Shem and Ham and so on, before. The only character you'll get as a piece of substitution very regularly is called Eli, Old Testament. If you ever see the word prophet in a clue, prophet with a PH, not an F, that could well be him. He gets, well, he doesn't get killed by the Philistines, he dies of shock after his sons get killed by the Philistines somewhere in the Old Testament. But yes, Eli, E-L-I, obviously very useful to setters again, so you see that quite a lot. Prophet, Eli, reasonably frequently, so keep an eye out for that one. Then you've got, probably the only other thing to really mention is parts of a church, the physical parts of a church. An altar, a nave, a transept. Nave crops up as a piece of substitution now and again, because obviously you can fit that into letters N-A-V-E, not a K like the playing card. That's an old reference. Transept less so, but you will see them as answers. So, I mean, don't go and bring up schematics of a church, but know that those words are out there. And the same with all the other characters of the Bible, various references will appear as answers. The Psalms, Song of Solomon crops up fairly frequently. If you ever see 427, something about the church, worth a guess. But in terms of substitution, NT, OT, CH and V, chapter, verse, New Testament, Old Testament, very worth remembering because they'll often give you something to anchor the rest of the clue around. So as soon as I see books in this clue, I'm thinking one of these is probably in the answer somewhere, and then you think 8 letters, that's probably in the middle because of how the clue's broken down, it's in this. It gives you a way in. So NT and OT, chapter and verse, remember those and you should be fine. So yes, I pray for you to have much happy solving. Enjoy.